And now it's time to tackle Aqua Man! No, not that Aqua Man! Why does everyone keep getting that mistake? Well, okay, that was kind of ridiculous that they called him Aqua Man, but this is the Mississippi King, welcoming y'all back to more Let's Play Mega Man 8, and in this video we're going to defeat Aqua Man and get the rest of the bolts. We'll also tackle the first stage of Wahwee Tower 1. So, I mean, the first stage of Wahwee Tower. It's kind of redundant to say the first stage of Wahwee Tower 1, but still, we're going to do that. In the last episode, we took out all but Aqua Man. We took out the three of the four new robot masters that we were introduced to, and in this episode, I decided to leave all of the backtracking we would have to do for this episode. But here's the the homing sniper in action. It's pretty good, I must say. I really love it. It's quite useful, and it's kind of underrated as a weapon. It's like, people seem so inconsistent when it comes to Mega Man games. It's like a homing weapon is good in Mega Man 9, but not in this game? Well, I mean, to be fair, the Hornet Chaser also does something that it also does some things that the homing sniper or the dive missile couldn't do, so I mean, I guess that's one advantage it has over them. But we'll get to Mega Man 9 when we get to it. But in the first part, we want to, like, fight this boss, this mid-boss. Now, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong on this, this part was actually the part that features a boss fight with, I think Woodman, but I could be mistaken. And Cutman actually shows up in the mid-stage. I believe one of the bolts that we got, the one that was at the top of the level that was like top right. No, it was actually top left. If you head that way, then I believe that actually leads to a fight with Cutman in the Saturn version. That's what I mean to say, is that the Saturn version has these features that you get to fight these old robot masters, and I think that's kind of cool. Well, it sounds cool anyway, but that sounds really nice. And one thing that the Saturn version also features is a different theme for the Tengu Man stage. And also this boss drops something like the red capsules that the mini-bosses often drop. Those are rush power-ups. Now, I'll be going more in depth into them later on. I mean, I already showed off Rush Bike and the Clown Man's stage. And, you know, I don't find Rush Bike to be as useful as it should be, because it's a cool ability. It's good in concept, but in execution it's not that useful because there are so many slopes and, like, things where you need to, like, jump, and places that just aren't suited for the bike. And it's like, you should have thought that through. Seriously. But this is Aqua Man's stage. His music isn't, and yes, it's a he, so that joke has been made a lot, and I shall not make it. But still, anyway, as I was saying, Aqua Man's music isn't really my favorite, but it's still decent. I like it. It fits the stage, it's atmospheric, and I can't really complain about it. It's certainly better than the elevator music from hell that was Astro Man's stage. But apparently Aquaman actually dislikes, he dislikes serious drama, and he likes toilet humor. Oh dear. I don't think I'd like him very much. Because it's like, seriously, that's what he likes? And this is also why I say that Astro Man would not get along with Aquaman. So that's funny, but still, I think that's just not the kind of robot that I would like to associate with. Because it's like, Astro Man dislikes cheap humor, and so, I'd qualify toilet humor as being the cheapest form of humor. So, I don't think he'd very much like Aquaman. But I do find his voice acting to be unintentionally amusing. It's like, it's so stupid that I kinda get a kick out of it. But, anyway, that's enough for that. Let's actually progress. He's like, when you get to him, he says, I'm Aquaman, but you can call me Handsome Guy. Okay, sure thing, buddy. This is kind of awkward, but it is admittedly kind of ridiculous. So it's time to fight Aquaman himself. Indeed, this is it, folks. He's, weird. Like, I didn't expect Aquaman would be so unusual. Like, really? Like, seriously, I could make so many jokes about him. But, yeah. Like, he keeps using the water cannon, but if you spam his weakness, he goes down ridiculously easy. And thus we have defeated Aquaman. Not that Aquaman! Dang it! Get him off screen! Stop confusing the two! They're very different. I mean, maybe? I don't know. But now that we've defeated him, that opens up Wahwee Tower. So before we do that, there are some bolts that I want to get. Now, what I want to do first is get the second bolt, well, the last bolt in Aquaman's stage, because you actually have to revisit it, because there's an alternate path right here. And that's why I didn't include this as like a time paradox thing, because it's like I'm going to be showing it anyway, because there are, there's a bolt. But here's the shaft, and you can see that I just picked up the bolt. But that's all for that path. Now let's head on to Searchman's stage. I mentioned in the last video that I needed the flame sword in order to get a bolt in Searchman's stage. And it's really just one. You see, you need it so that you can burn these here vines. And if you do that, then it opens the path to another bolt. So, yay. Hooray for that. And next up, we're tackling Grenade Man's stage. And just like before, we need the flame sword, because you can't ignite these here blocks without the flame sword. There's no metal that's on fire. I don't know what they're called, the ones that are on fire. But I don't really know about that. Still, the flame sword is kind of a neat weapon. It's decent. As far as melee weapons go, it's not the best, but it's also not the worst. But here in, what was it, Tengu Man stage, you can shoot that platform right there, and it opens the, well, it makes a full fall from the place. But since we're in Tengu Man's stage, I figured I may as well show off the second theme for Tengu Man. So, without further ado, here is Tengu Man's theme from the Saturn version. And we're back here. This time we're here at Iceman's stage. No, it's Frostman. Iceman was from the original. So, you see this icy platform here? Well, you see I can't really do anything to it, but if you use the Astro Crush, and you can see nothing's working. The flame sword doesn't even work. Like, you can try the flash bomb, anything, it doesn't work. But if you use the Astro Crush, then it opens the path to another bolt that you need the flash bomb in order to open. Well, I mean, you'll have the flash bomb at your disposal at this point, but you may not have any ammo. And finally, we're going to be heading to Clown Man's stage. Not finally, but still, there's one more bolt that I couldn't pick up because, of course, I lacked the flame sword, and I don't like how they keep forcing you to go back to stages in order to collect these bolts. It's kind of annoying. It'd be nice if they had designed this better, but anyway, there's a barrel in it that you can break with the flame sword, and I think only the flame sword breaks it. I could be wrong on that, but I haven't really tried anything besides the flame sword. But that's about it for the bolts, folks. Now let's head back to Dr. Light's lab to buy some stuff. Now, I'm gonna want the thing that's really good, like the rapid part, and also the hyper slider. It's gonna come in handy. Well, not really, it's just more of a convenience. It's gonna help with, like, moving faster, because this game seriously kind of feels like it's drowning in molasses, and that is not entertaining. But yeah, folks, now it's time to tackle the first Wahwee stage. Well, the first Wahwee Castle stage. And it's actually the first stage of Wahwee Tower, because that's what it's called in this game anyway. The rapid part just makes the Mega Buster speed up. And there are some other good upgrades that I got. The high-speed charge increases the charging speed. And yeah, it's kind of interesting that they give you like actual upgrades in the store. That's kind of neat, but it's a little underutilized. I mean, granted, I don't really need to use them, but still, some of them are quite convenient. Actually, what am I saying? The energy balancer isn't even that useful because when you die, you get an instant refill of life. In previous games, it was, well, Mega Man 7 and 6. You could actually make use of it because, you know, when you died, you didn't get an immediate refill of life. Still, it's a sliding section, and I actually had to do multiple takes of this place in order to get it on my first try. It's probably the hardest the hardest snowboard, some kind of boarding section in the game. And yeah, that wasn't that pleasant. But the boss of Wahwee Stage 1 is actually Atetemino. I have no idea. I have no idea how that's pronounced. But also, how do they keep coming up with this crap? Seriously, this boss is on two-step and jive hive. And you know what? I died right there. So I had to edit that out. Because, you see, this boss takes forever to defeat. You see, what you can do is you can kick the Mega Ball along the ground, like, if you would do this at the entrance, then it will damage the thing above you, and that way you'll be protected from falling ones. But what your goal is to actually hit it into the same spot that the Atetemino, the bagworm, shows up at. And so, this boss takes forever to do if you do like this, but you know what they say, slow and steady wins the race. Actually, fast and steady beats slow and steady any day. That's a silly euphemism. And it's not even a euphemism, it's a metaphor, a proverb, idiom, whatever. Still, it can take quite some time because, well, if you're doing it the way I'm doing it, which guarantees your protection unless you try and get gutsy or, like, screw up like I did in the last attempt to fight him. When I died, I was like, you f*** me! You f*** me, you dirty! Still, this guy takes forever to beat. In fact, I may want to speed part of this battle up. Because it's taking so long. Like, seriously, he's not even halfway done. But, the containers actually have some weapon energy, so yeah, don't worry about that. You'll always have enough to destroy them because it's like they'll keep spawning that. And when they keep spawning that, then you can keep up your work. You can, like, keep firing more Mega Balls. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. You don't need to worry about weapon energy, and if it spawns above you, then you break the container, and boom, you can get out scot-free.
He also starts to spawn a fake one, like there. Like, you don't want to hit that fake one, because if that happens, then you won't damage it, it will just fall to the ground and cause a shockwave that you need to jump over. And so, watch out for that one. And, other than that, it's quite simple. Just don't be a dingus like I just did. You see, that's what happens. This is what happens, Larry! This is what happens! This is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps! You see what happens when you feed a stunner scrambled eggs? Yes, I do insist on quoting the Big Lebowski every now and then. That's not actually from the original version, but a rather unintentionally hilarious censored version. Like, seriously, this is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps. Well, gee, kind of amusing. Never feed a stoner scrambled eggs! Just feed me scrambled eggs! I'm not a stoner, what am I saying? So don't feed a stoner scrambled eggs! Don't feed me scrambled eggs because I don't like them.
It's about time we beat that punk. And let's actually try and save our game this time. We made some decent progress if you ask me. And this is the Mississippi King signing out, and in the next video we'll tackle the most of the Wahwee Tower. So see y'all then.